if Christopher Daniels is officially retired, is Curryman officially retired?
They're both retired. We are both retired. Yes.
So Curryman had a match more recently than Christopher Daniels.
He did.
So is that your final match?
Well, that was Curryman's final match.
Oh, okay.
The last match for Christopher Daniels was the match with Adam Page, and that shall be his last match. And then Curryman also decided to hang up the boots after wrestling the Masked Brother. Yeah, so it was easy for me to decide to do a Curryman match because like it was with a friend of mine, like my best friend, and like to have that moment be the official last time I ever take a bump in a wrestling ring for a wrestling match, that was cool. But also I don't feel like it takes away from anything that happened in the match with Adam because that is the last time you'll see this human wrestling a wrestling match.
What was the idea behind Curryman to begin with?
Okay, so every 4 years at the time, Michinoku Pro would do a masked man tournament. It was a big round robin, month-long thing. And they did it in 95. And I want to say Jerry Lynn was in it. He wrestled as a Gorgon's Cross was his character. And so this was May of 99. So in April of 99, I do a tour with Michinoku Pro as Christopher Daniels. And afterwards, they're like, hey, we'd like you to be in this tournament. Because they would have the regular masked wrestlers, you know, Great Sasuke, Gran Aniwa, Tiger Mask. And then they would make these characters for the tournament to fill it out. And so they wanted me to be one of the guys. And there was Jason Cross from the UK was one of them. Jody Fleisch from the UK was one of them. And so there was a guy named Kendo, an older Mexican wrestler. And he was translating for me, but his English wasn't great. So like he comes up to me the day I get there and he goes, you are Karema. And I go, I don't know what Karema means. Okay, I'm Karema. And then I get to the building and I see the t-shirt and it has all the names of the wrestlers in the tournament. And it says Curryman. And I go, I guess I'm Curryman. And so they explained to me, there's a cartoon in Japan called Kinnikuman, which is muscle busters, muscle wrestlers, something like that. And there was a character called Curry Cook. And the gimmick was this curry cook had a plate of curry and rice on his head. And so Curryman had this plate of food on his head. And I was like, oh, okay. And so like honestly, as racist as this sounds, I didn't know how to play this character. They just said I was from India. And so at the time, being a Simpsons mark, I became Apu. And I would wrestle like Apu. I would hit something and I'd be like, oh, so sorry, so sorry. And I was like, ugh. And so for a while I thought, this is weird. I just wanted to wrestle. And so I got depressed and I was like, I'm not really feeling this thing. And finally, Gran Hamada, who was one of the older veterans, like he comes up to me and goes, hey, just wrestle. And he walks away and I was like, oh, yeah. And then I sort of, then I was like, oh, well, fuck it. I'll just have fun. Fuck it. So then I came up with this idea of like, in addition to wearing this mask and doing this nonsense, I would come out and dance and I would do all this fun stuff. And I changed my gear from the yellow Sabu singlet and baggy pants that they gave me. And I just wore what I would usually wear. And I had a cut off t-shirt like Billy Gunn used to wear to hide the tattoo because that wasn't Curryman at the time, or Curryman wasn't Christopher Daniels at that time. So then I started doing all this stuff and that's where it started to catch sort of fire in Michinoku Pro, and that became like a real popular character for them.
And then it stuck around until now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that has to do with going to TNA. Like I had pitched, when the Fallen Angel character had sort of come to an end, they kept asking me like, why are you the Fallen Angel? Why are you the Fallen Angel? So I remember writing an email to the creative guys. I was like, listen, we can do one of two things. We can just say, listen, the Fallen Angel, like it doesn't have to necessarily mean anything. It's a cool name. Like the Heartbreak Kid doesn't go technically breaking people's hearts. It's a cool name. Fallen Angel is a cool name. Or I could come and do this Curryman character for you. And if you like that, cool. And Jeff liked it. And he was like, all right, let's do this. And so the funny thing was in my head, when I was going to come, I did the thing where I got fired and I was going to come back. And in my head, I wanted to be like the Yellow Dog, where I come back and I'm wearing the Curryman mask, but I'm talking in my voice. And you talk to me and you're like, and I'm like, oh, hey man, your Japanese is really good. Hey, I'm Curryman and I'm here to wrestle. And Jeff was like, no, it can't be you. It can't be you. And then I was like, oh, So then I changed the idea of, he was like, you got to have more of a bodysuit. It's not supposed to be you. And that was where I came up with the idea of like talking in this Japanese. And one of the funniest experiences I ever had was working with Jushin Liger. And the first time I ever wrestled him one-on-one, he comes up to me and he goes, tonight maybe I beat you brainbuster. And that was how his voice sounded. I'm not doing like a stereotypical, that was his voice. Maybe brainbuster? And I go, yeah, that's fine. He goes, really? I go, yeah, that's fine. And so like his voice was always how I spoke as Curryman. I wanted to talk in his cadence and his, his English is, sporadic, but that was how I wanted to talk. And at first I thought the funny thing as Curryman would be like, I would name these Japanese wrestlers and pretend that was the Japanese I was saying. So I'd be like, Kenta Kobashi, Mitsuharu Masawa. And like I was saying a sentence, but it was just wrestlers' names.
Yeah.
And then like 3 or 4 months in, I went, oh, I've been here for a while. My English is probably going to get better at this point. So then I started, talking in broken English and doing it like that.
What was the dance?
The dance literally was just like, fuck it, I'm going to do something fun. I had, I came to the ring with a Rage Against the Machine song. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to do dance. So literally I was trying to point, like I wanted to do this thing where I was pointing. I was like, look at this plate on my head, everybody. And so it was half Rob Van Dam and half Blue Meanie. And that was the dance. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do this. And that was it. And somehow that became this thing. So like one of the biggest matches that I had, the last match I had before I went to my first WCW contract was the Super J Cup. And I'm the only American in the gimmick. And I'm wrestling this guy named Onro, who was like a zombie character. And I remember coming out and the crowd going nuts. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And I was just dancing and I just hop up on a table. And I remember like the Japanese young boys like coming up to the table, holding onto it to make sure I don't fall back. And so just having fun, and the crowd was nuts. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. And that was literally the last time I did Curryman for a while because I was going to WCW. I ended up coming back and still doing it and had fun. And that, after I came back, I got a chance to do a couple of New Japan matches. And then I met, I got with Liger again. I was like, hey, can I come to New Japan? And he was like, hell yeah. And that sort of got me into New Japan as Curryman. So,
I appreciate that for so long you didn't acknowledge that it was you.
yeah, I mean, it was fun. And like, you can't imagine how many people I would do at signings where they'd be like, hey man, I really like you as Curryman. I was like, I was never Curryman. It was Angelina Love. And they'd look at me like, really? And I was like, oh no, Samoa Joe was Curryman. Everyone knows that. And they're just
Samoa
like,
Joe.
they literally, and literally people would be like, wait, they had no idea. And I was like, no, yeah, really. I was never Curryman. What are you talking about? Giant Gonzalez was Curryman, things like that. And they were just like, and they'd walk away like, I thought I knew what I was talking about,